Hey guys, Indiana Smith here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is our first new episode in quite some time, and I'm glad to have my friend Austin Thomas here behind the camera. Check him out on YouTube, Austin Thomas Films, and today I'm here to talk to you about my Roman artifact collection. I have been fascinated with Roman history for a long time, and as you might know, I've written a couple of historical novels about Roman history. My Story of Pontius Pilate and also Theophilus, A Tale of Ancient Rome. You can check them both out on Amazon. But collecting Roman artifacts is a fairly new passion for me. I didn't have any until about 20 years ago in the mid to late 90s. My friend Jerry Jones purchased not Jerry Jones of the Cowboys, the other Jerry Jones, who's a professor of history. He purchased a trove of Roman artifacts out of Bulgaria, and I got a small little arrowhead and a couple of bronze rings, one for each of my daughters, and actually three, one for my wife as well. And that was really all I had for a long time. But then in recent years, going to artifact shows, I started seeing Roman things pop up here and there among collections. And I bought several pieces from a retired archaeologist from Baylor. And then later on, Jerry actually sold me what he had left of the trove that he had bought back in the 90s. So I brought my Roman frame out today. I've got several pieces I want to show you. This is the one that I take to artifact shows and book signings. This is my keeper frame. These are the artifacts that are mine permanently. And what we have here are several Roman arrowheads. These small triangular points, I've been told, are either crossbow or short bow points. I don't know if the Romans for sure used crossbows, but I found references that they did. And then these are stemmed and socketed points. This is actually a spearhead made out of iron from a Roman pilum. That is the thrusting spear that was carried, and throwing spear that was carried by Roman legionaries. It was designed to break off on impact. Then I also have a lot of these things, which are known as fibula or knee brooches, because they look a little bit like a person's knee. They come in different sizes, and what they are is garment clasps, okay? They were used to fashion togas and cloaks and tunics, and they range in size from smaller ones like this to larger ones like this here, which is probably for a mantle or a soldier's heavy outer cloak. And so also have some unique little pieces. This looks almost like a pawn from a chessboard. It's probably a counterweight. I've got a similar one over here that's actually pierced at the top. If you can pick that up. I think those were probably used for weighing coins and precious metals. And then my prize pieces are my various figurines. This is one of my favorites. This is a gladiator brooch. And if you look, it's got the original pin on the back. Dr. Fox told me this was excavated at a site in Jordan. It's made out of bronze, and you can see the gladiator holding his dagger and his shield, and he's got his Corinthian helmet, and I can just imagine this piece being sold as a souvenir at the Colosseum. Also have this, my largest Roman figurine. This is a Lares, one of the little household gods. You might remember in the movie Gladiator, Maximus had the little statues that represented his family, his wife and sons, and the gods that looked over them. A Roman would have a little niche in his household where they would offer bread and salt and fire 3 times a day to the Lares to ensure the ongoing prosperity of the household. Now here's a neat little piece. This is a figurine of Mars, the god of war. It's badly eroded, but you can tell by the distinct helmet and the fact that he is carrying a spear, has one hand upraised, the bottom part of the figurine is missing. Here's one of my most recent pieces. I purchased this at the Temple Show this year. This is an amulet of Medusa, who was a popular figure in Greco-Roman culture. Very cool little piece made out of bronze and just very well preserved. Nice patina. Also have a bunch of rings. These are bronze finger rings that would have been worn by young Roman ladies and women, camp followers, since these were mostly found around a military camp. Also have some Roman coins here. Now some of these are too worn to be legible, but this one was a recent acquisition. It is a gift from my friend Jack Bates, and it is a coin from the reign of Constantine the Great, who ruled in the early 4th century. He was one of the last emperors to rule over a united Roman Empire. He is also the guy who legalized Christianity and presided over the Council of Nicaea. My oldest coin that I can get a solid date on is this one. It is from Antoninus Pius. He was one of the 5 good emperors that ruled in the 2nd century. He followed shortly before, he was after Trajan and before Marcus Aurelius, again, that you might remember from Gladiator. Also have one here from Claudius II. He was a 3rd century Roman emperor, only ruled for a few years. And then I have several other coins that are really too small to identify properly. Now, as I said, these are my keepers. These are the pieces that I have got and will probably wind up selling some of these, although if they don't sell, I'll be happy to keep them too. I've got a whole selection of the fibula here in different sizes, some counterweights. Some of these fibula are just very ornate. Some of them have traces of the original polish on them, although all of them are pitted and corroded and patinaed with age. I have a few of the Roman rings. Also have some arrowheads and spearheads here. This is one of my favorite. It's a barbed spearhead, but if you look, it is bent. And I don't know if it was thrown and hit a brick wall or a tree, or if some Roman soldier had exceptionally good armor, but I'd love to know the story behind the damage to that particular point. Now these are triangular, fairly thick thrusting points, and again on this one the tip is bent slightly back from impact, but those would have inflicted a deep puncture wound. Now this is a large tanged iron rat tail spearhead. This is a fascinating piece, very well preserved, probably the best preserved iron point that I have. And then here is a much larger one, not quite as well preserved and showing some damage down here in the tang, but again a typical what we call a rat tail spear. I also have a few of the rings over here and a lot of these very small triangular points. Like I said, either short bow or crossbow points. They're small, they're triangular, and they were loosely affixed. You can see most of them are hollow at the base. Quite a few of them still have organic matter jammed down in the cavity, but those that don't, you can actually see up here and there, they're quite hollow. And they were basically just stuffed on the end like a cap on a pin. Not a lot of adhesive, so that when they went in, someone pulled the arrow out, the arrowhead would remain in the wound and cause an infection. Anyway, so that is some of my Roman artifacts. And then my favorite piece, my prize. I picked this up at the Indian Artifact Show in Temple this year. This is a Roman legionary's ring. It is a silver ring. It was found near Trieste in Italy. Now, it's been aggressively cleaned. It was probably black when it came out of the ground. And I don't know if you can pick it up with your lens from here. It says Legion 18 Augustus. What's really cool about the 18th Legion is that they only existed for a short time. They were recruited by Octavian in 31 AD for his war with Mark Antony, and they were ambushed and wiped out by a German tribe called the Cherusci in 9 AD, and it was such a disastrous defeat. 3 Roman legions broken and destroyed and their eagles captured, that the Romans actually retired that legionary number. Now, considering that Octavian was not given the title Augustus until 28 BC, that puts this in a very narrow window. This would only have been known as the Augustan Legion for a period of about 30 years, right around the time of the turn of the first millennia, from the 1st century BC to the 1st century AD. So this is a very fascinating little piece, and I was really glad to get it. As I said, this was probably worn by an individual legionary, and just the idea of holding and even being able to wear a piece of history of this antiquity is just really humbling and cool at the same time. Anyway, so that is a little sharing of my Roman artifact collection. I hope you enjoyed seeing them. And remember, like, share, subscribe. The Indiana Smith channel on YouTube. And check out my books on Amazon if you get the chance. I wonder if this ancient ring has any magical powers. Let's see.